Hello, artists. Today we are going to learn about landscapes and how artists have created landscape art. Parts of a landscape. When we draw a landscape, we want to show some things that are close to us and things that are far away. Way in the background is the background. It's the land that's furthest away from you, including the sky. There's a horizon line artists create that separates the earth from the sky. The middle ground is land or objects that are in the middle of a picture, and in the foreground is the objects closest to you. There are so many different ways you can actually make a landscape drawing or painting. So let's see some artists that have created landscape art. Some realistic painters were a group of people called the Florida Highwaymen. In the late 1950s, a group of mostly self-taught African American artists devoted themselves to capturing Florida's natural landscape in realistic paintings. But because of Jim Crow laws, the artists in this group were shut out of museums and art galleries. So they decided to sell their art by going door to door. They were known as the Florida's Highwaymen because of all the traveling they had to do in order to make a living selling their art. Alfred Hare and Harold Newton were the founding artists of this group, and they taught many friends and family how to paint and become successful artists. The 26 artists that were the original Highwaymen were able to go door to door selling their art and making a living as artists. There was one woman named Mary Ann Carroll. She was the only woman in the original 26 painters, and when she was 16, she learned how to mix colors and make painting and picture frames from Harold Newton. She then practiced her skills at home. She, along with the other highwaymen, were able to make a living as artists instead of working in citrus grove fields and packing houses. She raised 7 children and worked as a painter her whole life. In 2011, Mary Ann Carroll presented one of her paintings to First Lady Michelle Obama. Here are some examples of landscape paintings. Some of them are realistic looking and some are abstract. Some are of far away kind of nature pictures in countrysides, and some are of busy cities, rural or urban. Some artists, like artist Katsushika Hokusai, was very famous from the 1800s, making pictures of landscapes. His art was made with print blocking, so he would print them from stamps and then paint within the picture. He had so many wonderful pictures of different things like the Great Wave of Kanagawa or the Fuji Mountains, that these are so famous that post-impressionist painters such as Renoir, Monet, and Van Gogh collected his artwork for their own galleries. His daughter, Katsushika Oi, was a lesser-known artist than her father, but she is one of the only Japanese women to master woodblock painting during her time. There has actually been some anime films adapted to show the story of her life. Yoko Honda is an American Japanese artist who created 1980s-inspired landscapes. Having grown up as a teen during this time, she was immersed in the art, movies, commercials, and TV series that formed the distinctly recognizable flavor, color, and style of the 1980s. So most of her landscapes have some very abstract kind of bright colors that may not be seen by our eyes when we are looking outside, but it was definitely seen by her imagination. Here's some surrealistic or dreamlike fantasies that she created to make some fun landscapes. And here's some beautiful landscapes that she used that have some different kind of colors that create different emotions and feelings when you look at them. Here are some landscapes that I created. I love to use patterns and colors and weave a lot of different lines and patterns throughout my urban scenes. So today we are going to look at and try and practice line drawings, adding some value and shading. We can even add color to our art. But whatever we work on, let's think of all the details we would like to create our landscapes and have a lot of fun with them.